It's the battle for Brisbane University supremacy, and at the moment, the University of Queensland has stricken first, up 1-0 in this best of three here at the Elements Collective, live in the Valley, neutral grounds as opposed to competing at UQ in the past. However, home field advantage, I guess, wasn't the secret to their success before, as they've already taken their first game here today.
Yeah, UQ actually performed pretty well in that last sequence of events. QT definitely fumbled, but just think about it: 4 Earth Dragons and the Soul, obviously, and it was still a close game. Like, something went wrong in the draft phase. Something went wrong in the early game. We need to look at that in this next game for QT.
Look, this might be a controversial stance to take, but sometimes team comps are a little bit, I don't know, a little overrated when you just have press button do good, right? And QUT had a fair bit of that, especially towards the tail end of that game. They fought back in it. They found a couple picks, punished some of UQ's over-aggressiveness, and they had themselves in position to win that game, although you're saying team composition had to probably play a big part in that, and it's hard to deny in some of those fights.
Yeah, it just goes to show that when a team so systematically and repetitively makes plays, but the game is still hard for them to function, that's where the draft is really big. Dragon Soul that just blew it open for UQU.
Yeah, that pick was massive in terms of momentum. And following off of that, UQ, they were able to eventually get their 4 Dragons in a row, get their win, and now they're at match point. So if UQ wins this one, it's going to be a shorter night, a 2-0 victory for the UQ side. However, looking at some of the players that we see before, this is going to be the lineup from the UQ side looking to put it away. Lithium lead again in top, Scott jungle, Sean in the mid lane, who is now coming in, was kind of not seen as much before. You've got Deanne as well with Clint in the bot side, and looks to be a little bit of a swap. Deanne going on ADC and Clint now playing support.
That is a swap.
That's spooky, as QUT's lineup will be Tron the Pawn, Major, Norbit 2, Akira, and Trimming Armour.
Nice. Yeah, well, UQ is saving a secret weapon for later, I think. But, yeah, no, I'm interested to see if that's intentional or not, because if Dean and Clint are really swapping, then this is going to be another banger.
That is, I mean, who can forget, again, Deanne last year with that late push that nearly cost UQ one of their games. Talking to Scott a little bit beforehand, Scott straight up said, those are the places that you have nightmares about. And that's the last memory we really have of Deanne in the bot lane. I remember back to QUT's InterVarsity League, seeing Deanne play mid lane as well, and that also a thing of nightmares.
Yeah, the man's a jack of all trades, I suppose, but I'm more interested in seeing what Luke's support looks like, if that's the case.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to watch. But when you have a one-game advantage, I suppose, you're allowed to experiment like this. But when I take a look over, I can look just right over there and see that QUT table, and there are determined looks on their faces right now. They are hungry. They don't want to go down in 2 games. We've got this place booked out quite late, so why not make the full use of it? They're going to be trying to fight back, and I mean, it would be pretty big for QUT if they can do the reverse sweep to come back. I mean, yeah, it's not a 5-game reverse sweep, but it's still 2 games in a row, down 1. Yeah. Reverse sweep it.
And I'm actually looking at the players, and I'm actually seeing that Amidal is playing for UQU, and we have 2 substitutions for QT as well. So a bit of a mistake on the graphic there, but yeah. So a lot of substitutions this game. It's going to be a totally different matchup. We're going to see how this one plays out. It's going to be very exciting.
And just to make sure that is a middle kind of going into the mid lane, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I would hope. We would hope, because if that's the case, then QUT could be in trouble. The middle Scott synergy was one of the big things and why this team was so good before. So our eyes are going to be on them. I feel like if they can get going, well, there's going to be good things for this UQ side, and we could be seeing our first sweep.
Yeah, well, it'll be I don't hope so, but I am a UQ alumni, so I want UQ to win, but I signed up for 3 games, so maybe it is Amit off roll or something like that.
I appreciate how you use the terminology sign up, not like as if, I kind of kidnapped you against your will and dragged you back here and sort of forced you in this situation. But no, I appreciate that. It's good. I'm glad we're on the same page right now as we're continuing to get ready. Should only be a couple more minutes before we go into our next pick and bans, although we can kind of see the players right there. It looks like they're getting ready to go. In fact, so are we. We're in our picks and bans.
Where are the bans?
UQ on the red side now. QUT going to be rocking in blue. We've had our side swap. And how do you think this is going to affect the draft?
Well, it's definitely going to change a lot. I think with the players already is going to change a lot. I'm just quickly looking at the bans here. We see Viego, Elise, Zoe. Zoe is definitely an Amidal ban. Viego and Elise are Scott bans, I suppose. Both really strong champs if you know how to snowball a game. On the other side, we see Vladimir, Jin, and MF. That's the same bans as last game, I believe. Tron the Palm is a Vladimir player.
Oh, he's a big Vlad player.
Yeah, that's the one. And then the 80 carry bans are just towards Akira, I believe.
What's interesting is seeing so much focus on Bobby's champion pool as well. Being focused right there with the Jin, with the MF. Kaisa, though, left up and will be QUT's priority. They did get the Kaisa pick last time around, so I'm a little bit surprised to see them go for it. Also, it was not the role swap. Clint is still staying in the bot lane, and this is important because they're committing to a Vayne comp.
Yes, so there's two ways you can deal with a Kaisa. You either pick a comp that's good into champs that go in, or you match it with something crazy like a Vayne or a Samira, and you go hard. And that's what UQ is doing. The Gragas picks I'm guessing that Lithium really prioritizes the Gragas, but Gragas is just a really good early champ. It does a lot. So in the second round, if they don't end up picking the Gnar here, I'd really like to see them ban it because that matchup is so rough. And there's the Gnar.
Yeah, it looks like Gnar is going to be taken through. This time blind, however. Last time Gnar was sort of taken as a response. This time the Gnar will be picked up blind by the QUT side. And a nice little challenge being thrown down. Unless, of course, you're assuming that Gragas is going top lane, which very, very probable as well.
Very probable, yes.
I mean, you could flex the Gragas now into the jungle to avoid that matchup, but it looks like Lithium is kind of going to try to run it back, I feel like. And that's got to get you a little nervous for UQ.
Well, I didn't see exactly what happened in the lane, so I can't say if it was just an early mistake that snowballed or if it was a completely mismanagement of the wave. Sorry. But definitely itemization, first thing, needs to be addressed. If Gragas builds the same way he did last time, he's going to just take L's the whole game. Yeah.
So something I'm noticing right now, which is having me a little bit concerned again for the UQ side, it's the range into what is looking to be a dive comp. UQ are kind of setting up with a very low range comp. Like Vayne, yes, is an amazing AD carry, especially when is allowed to sort of free hit, farm, and move around. But QUT is sort of setting themselves up again for another sort of dive in your face style that could be almost a little bit troublesome for UQ because with that Udyr pick, each team is feeling very close quarters.
Yeah, so the one good thing is that Vayne is very good against the champs they've selected. Vayne is good at kiting tanks, plain and simple. But I do agree that Vayne has to get close, and one misstep is going to cost him dramatically. In terms of the Udyr pick, Udyr is a really strong champ right now. Like I personally think of it as the best jungler on the patch, although Korea and stuff are kind of dropping their priority there a little bit. So it's interesting to see how it plays out here into the Skarner matchup, which is another emerging pick, I would say.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see this Udyr as well. I just remember watching. I'm trying to remember which LCK game it was, but essentially it was Peanut on Udyr out running in Italy in the jungle, and it's just like, that shouldn't happen.
No, you can't get away. It's impossible.
Especially against an Italy, who is supposed to be like the jungle queen. Yep. But it is what it is, I suppose. Clint, once again, going to be locking into the Alistair, so Deanne going to be playing that champion again.
That
a lot of people.
Beefy comp.
Yeah, it's all muscle, too.
Yeah, so Amit's really going to have to bring this comp together. You don't need an AP damage threat necessarily, but it's pretty rough because you have two off-tank APs. What I would actually really like to see here is the Gragas shift into a full AP build path to facilitate that AP roll, and then have Amit go some high-threat AD champ potentially, or another AP champ, I suppose. I am concerned about a triple AP topside with two of the APs being off tanks into this comp.
Yeah, it could be a rough source of damage. I think UQ really needs that good mid lane to tie it all together. I'm curious if they're going to go back to, well, the Oriana, but I don't think
It's banned, so it's definitely going to be interesting what they pick here.
I feel like Cassiopeia is
fine.
a good choice. You can stay safe in that back line. Kind of combats a lot of that choke point control, which QUT was trying to establish for themselves, and it's not a terrible matchup into the Victor as well.
It's not a terrible matchup into the Victor. It's not a terrible matchup into Skarner or even Rel, Gnar. But I do give the edge to QT's comp, honestly. I think Cassiopeia, if you're on top of her, is dead, right? Yep. And QT has the tools to get on top of Cassiopeia. They have a Gnar flanking. They have a probably not a fast-moving Skarner, but a flash Skarner. Cassiopeia is going to have to invest in a QSS potentially, which is rough.
Never fun.
And
Never
on the other
fun.
hand, on the other side, I see a lot of short range into a Victor and a Gnar. I think these UQ's comp is so hard at attacking. It has such a hard time attacking QT's comp with their engaged tools. I think it's going to be really rough, and I'm interested to see again if the game plays out the way I predict in that regard.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough sort of pairing for sure, especially, you know, again, if you can get to that back line, because there's really only 2 targets I feel like QUT needs to worry about. But at the same time, I've seen plenty of times in the past where one side kind of over-prioritizes one target, maybe not gives enough attention to the other, and then all of a sudden the Vayne is allowed to get let loose because all of the crowd control is put on Cassiopeia or vice versa. Both of these hyper carries on UQ might have those avenues to sort of play around. Not to mention, with what I think is going to be a lot of choke point focus just based on these team comps. And yes, there's a lot of, you know, wanting to be in your face from the QUT side. The Petrifying Gaze, if that is used correctly, I know it's kind of crazy to say,
yes.
oh, of course, you know, push button, correct, win, fight, but it's going to be so critical for a middle because that can completely sway if QUT mistimes and doesn't get the flank that you were saying before executed correctly.
No, Amit's DPS in this fight, in this game, is going to be like incredibly important. If Amidal ever dies, UQ has no AP threat. And so if a team itemizes armor or tabbies or anything like this, Vayne's going to have a rough time. And that's really where it's going to come down to. What I was thinking, I just realized what a really good composition might have been is to instead shift the Gragas to be a more AP style, right? So that kind of deals with the Gnar a little bit, right? The Gnar struggles, the Gnar does really well into the tank Gragas, but less so into the AP Gragas because AP Gragas is able to clear the wave better, is able to trade and actually potentially kill the Gnar early, so it definitely changes the dynamic a lot. And then I would have liked to have seen an ADC last pick from Amidal, potentially a Lucian or Tristana, which are in the meta, and that would have definitely done a lot better into the Victor because it would have had a lot of kill threat and range, etc., these kind of things. So when you pick this Cassiopeia, you kind of rely on the enemy team coming into you, and it's going to be really important, again, that they set up first in the objective and they make them come into them the same way they did last game.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's sort of a tough team competition to pull off, but if we didn't see that last game, well, then we would be questioning a bit more. But it is how they played the first game, and they did work for them. I'm curious, though, if it's going to work in game number 2, because there is going to be new players. Like, we've seen a lot of subs have come in, so there's going to be some changes. So it's kind of hard to say these are the same 2 teams as game number 1. The only thing that they're the same in is team name and results, which is currently UQ 1, QUT 0. QUT has to win this game. And I feel like with these team compositions, if QUT doesn't win this game, they're not winning any games tonight. So it's kind of a good thing that we ended on too, because it feels so in QUT's favor.
Yeah, this will definitely show definitively that UQ is the better team this year if they pull this game off. I mean, it's not to say that the drafts are the horrible either side. It's just that QUT's draft does well into UQ's, some of UQ's champs very well into some of UQ's champs.
Yeah, as we are getting closer. It's interesting, too, that you're talking about who will be the better team this year. Because, again, third time we've been able to broadcast this one through Briz Asia. And if you go back to the past 2, UQ, they won last year. They wound up having the better result in the OCS at the time. Go back 2 years ago, QUT had the better result. They also won this Briz Asia event. So while this is more exhibition, while this is more for bragging rights than anything else, we have seen the results carry over into that more professional scene. And as a result, perhaps there is a little bit more to play. It sets the tone for the year, and you want to win it.
Yeah, do have to correct you. QT has never done better than us in OCS.
Oh,
they
okay.
have done better than us in every Unigames tournament, but OCS we were one place above them 2 years ago, and last year we were
Well, last year was
one place above them
okay,
as
hold
well.
on. I'm trying to remember then the 2 years ago one because
We were both at the bottom. Of
yeah,
the table.
I'm pretty sure better is a very loose term on that.
We won the head-to-head.
True, that is true.
So-
Wasn't it in like the first week as well?
Yep.
Yeah, good times, good times, and it was. I do. There are some things I remember. 2 years just feels so long ago, but what does not feel long ago was our trip back to Summoner's Rift. In fact, you could say it's happening right now. Both teams on the field. QUT now in blue, UQU in red, and no longer bunching as 5. The line of scrimmage is set. Each team staying to their own side of the Rift. What I find interesting is Lithium not even bothering to play a bit of defense, just kind of went on his own for a bit into top lane.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't want to get, definitely playing very respectfully of Nar cheeses early, but that could have been punished a lot harder. Luckily, it wasn't.
Oh, this could be going fishing, perhaps. Nope, doesn't look like Clint wants to take that swing of things. So no level 1 action. Instead, both junglers starting on the top side, so they will be mirroring each other. And I kind of have to think right now, Udyr with that clear probably is going to be setting that early priority.
Well, yeah, Udyr definitely does clear extremely fast. I'm not actually super familiar with how fast Skarner clears in relation, but what I am seeing here is that UQ's bot lane is absolutely going to have to concede the priority. Like,
Yep.
Alistair and Vayne level 1 cannot contest priority into pretty much any matchup in the game. So, if Udyr's pathing down, oh, you can see he's actually getting out. Yeah, he's getting out.
Out-poked.
No, out-cleared. Udyr is... Skarner's going to be first to this bot side and probably first to the crab. So I'm actually not sure what Udyr's plan here is pathing bot side.
Yeah, this is actually could start to look a little bit dire, I suppose, for this early game for UQ. I have to ask, like, but when does the Vayne Alistair actually start to get lane priority in this situation?
It'll be never.
Yeah, that's what I thought the answer was. I just want to make sure. Eyes will be, Rusty getting subbed into that bot lane and has been a long-standing member, within the amateur scene and within the QUT side. He's been around for a good long while. Had a little chat before, and he wanted to make sure, he's no rookie. He has that experience. He is someone who knows what he's doing out there, and this is going to be a chance to prove it on stage.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm seeing. Now that I can see the minimap a bit better, I think that both junglers are clearing at equivalent times. It's just a full clear down from Udyr.
Yep.
He doesn't want to path top side because Gragas is like a dead lane. He potentially could have pathed topside to protect a dive, which would have been an interesting adaptation.
Deanne thinks he has Bobby caught out, but you got to be careful because Major is kind of making their way up the river, and Deanne might be the one who's over-aggressive. Rusty is going to try to make the flank, but the flash play's not going to be good enough. A nice stun from Major will give first blood over to Bobby, and that was just a more intelligent play, I feel, from the QUT side. However, not quite done, perhaps, as Scott is getting poked a bit. Here comes Major, but with a nice use of the miasma that is going to slow down QUT and trying to find the fight. They'll just have to settle for a Scuttle Crab instead.
Yeah, you can see that my concern was that they were not going to be able to contest the bot river because of the early priority from bot lane. And that is exactly what happened. It's actually, yeah, you can see that Skarner's going to cross through mid and try and contest this crab again. If Nar had played this a little bit better, Udyr would have been double scuttled here.
Yeah, but instead it looks like the Skull Crab was secured. QUT a little bit slow in getting to the play for the second time in a row. So UQ, they at least get a little bit of something going in their favor. However, with the precedent set in that bot lane, already Clint opting to purchase that cold. Going to be playing for that later game. And nice little disruption from Deanne onto Bobby, though. And that's got to be a little bit annoying because now that kind of messes with the reset timer.
Yeah, the wave is in an awkward spot for UQ anyways. I think Vayne won't actually be able to push this in regardless. So it's a little bit redundant, but I guess it does probably shave off a few creeps, and every creep counts, so I like it.
I almost feel more importantly, though, is like a chance to get this Alistair roaming. We know Deanne likes to roam. We know he wants to try and find plays, and already you can see him sort of scouting out that mid lane right there. That looked like a Hex Flash into the wall. We only saw it on the mini-map, but that looked like a Hex Flash into the wall to me, and he is going to have to back away from that one. Another little awkward mistake. I feel like I'm being a little harsh on Tien right now. Every time he makes a little misstep, I seem to be on it.
Well, I think that it was a dead play anyways. Cassiopeia had to base at that time. But I do like the fact that you pointed out that that stopping that base enabled the Alistair's roam timer, because that is actually a really big part there. Unfortunately, though, Cassiopeia had not managed her mana to facilitate it, so not much to be done there. But I hope Alistair got a deep ward. I think he did get a deep ward, which is really nice by him, but it was cleared out by a pink ward. So unfortunately, just QT has had the upper hand in almost every scenario so far. We'll see how the scaling goes.
Well, yeah, and we'll see how the scaling goes, especially with Scott trying to sneak away that dragon right now. So even though QT might be having that momentum, Scott, trying to sort of sneak something back, but it's going to be very careful because it looks like QUT
He's got it.
Does sniff something out, but it's too little too late. And this is what I said about Scott at the start. Even if he might not have priority, he still will look for those plays and more often than not pull them off.
Yeah, I was actually surprised by a lot of what just happened. I think that sneak should never work. Obviously, Falling has prio, so they should be able to check it, and Skarner should be first to move for it. Dragons are so important in this meta. What I was also really interested in seeing was that I think Gnar just had Gragas on a freeze when Skarner was going to path to his side, and he just broke it for no reason. Like, the game should have been over for top right there. And now he's pushed it out, so he's obviously playing for priority, but Skarner's playing the bot side. It's very strange. I'm not sure why Tron the Palm did that.
Yeah, and that actually could have some pretty negative consequences quite soon, because you do have Scott already looking on that top side of the map. That's just naturally where he's going to be next, which QT should be able to track with the dragon going down. It's like, okay, assume the bot side's gone. He's going to be going top in the near future, so it's risky play from Tron. I dare I say greedy play. He's thinking about that lead he has right now, and he's thinking about that call and thinking, how accelerated can I be? How much more money can I have at the end of it all? And we'll be curious to see if he winds up getting punished as a result. It wasn't the immediate response from UQ, though, and now finally Major is able to get to the top side of the rift.
The one good thing about him pushing it out was that he's bled Gragas dry of his mana, and he's already has a 30 CS lead. So Gragas definitely needs to base here. He's looking to base. No, that's good. I don't want him basing you.
Oh. Yeah, we got something happening mid. Scott is able to get the stun, not even with the flash, it's just a bear slap, and that's enough to secure a kill. UQ strike back.
Yeah, that's big. That's what I wanted to see from Udyr. I definitely want to see him impacting this mid 2v2 early before Skarner can make everyone pay the toll. But yeah, so Gnar, as long as Gragas is in this lane with no mana, Gnar will just bleed him more and more. And Gragas is caught between a rock and a hard place here because he needs to base, but if he uses his TP for free, Gnar will have TP advantage, and that lead will be able to spill over to the rest of the map. So now he's just going to base and TP. Gnar will base and walk back to lane for free, and then that is how Tron the Palm will just accelerate this matchup so hard.
How do you start to combat this then right now if you're on the UQ side, or do you just concede it? Just be like, look, I'm sorry, Lithium. You made this bed, you sleep in it right now, you're on your own, just don't look under the covers because that cute cuddly teddy bear is about to go monstrous on you.
So the correct play is for Udyr to spend one move to help Gragas push the wave all the way into the tower. And that will allow Gragas to bounce it. This is before. From this position now, we're kind of in no man's land for Gragas. Gragas cannot do anything. Luckily, Gnar hasn't based, which means that the longer Gnar hasn't based like this, the less opportunities QT will have to make a big play around his teleport advantage.
Well, the play is actually happening down below because that's where Skarner is waiting, already grabbing Diane and securing that kill before the chains can get broken. So Flash and Ultimate still available for the support. It matters not. QUT back out in the kill count.
Yeah, no, this is another situation where QT is just winning all over the map.
So that means Scott's going to be taking a neutral objective. That's what happens. As you can see on the map right now, Rift Herald.
Scott is very good at trading. If the team goes for a play, he will take the objective. He'll be there for it. I'm not sure how happy he is to trade for an objective, but you can see he's right there. He's ready to take it. That Herald's going to go their way. That'll give them some gold back in their pockets, try to help them neutralize this advantage that QT is growing.
I actually really like that teleport out of Tron. It might wind up costing QUT that second dragon. However, I mean, Lithium can't really match, so there's no teleport on either side, and it was used in a way right when that wave was crashing. So Tron is playing a very greedy top lane game, it feels like, but keeps getting away with it.
Yeah, well, it was a mistake because originally, not the TP itself.
Yeah.
The TP itself at that moment was good, but he should have based when Gragas TP'd. And Gragas would have had to push that wave out, and maybe Gnar loses a wave or half a wave, but he would have his TP be back in the lane and be pushing this lead. But now that he's waited so long and Gragas has been able to get some control back in the lane, he had to use that TP, right? So it was actually the original mistake that's cost him the TP, and now that might impact their dragon control, which is another mistake from Tron, who should be, from this position, 40 CS up? He should be just absolutely dominating.
Well, I imagine we're going to be seeing more of that domination perhaps in the very near future. At the moment, though, all the pings and all the action actually looking down below.
No.
And again, Deanne unable to pull off the combo right there, much to the amusement of our live crowd, as Herald is going to be dropped in that mid lane. The play, however, is happening down below. That was a flash. Not sure it's going to connect, however. In fact, it's being turned around. Rusty in a lot of trouble. Knocked underneath the tower. Tries to pull everyone back in. The damage is there, but it's not going to be enough. Here comes Major trying to turn things around. But Scott right behind going straight after this rail. Rusty gets stunned. Rusty gets shot. 1 arrow, 2 arrow. That's all what's needed. Rusty does fall as UQ wants more. Continuing to try and force QUT back. Does get that flash out of Bobby eventually. Up above, Victor actually looks to be getting into a fight with the Cassiopeia. It doesn't lead to anything up there either way. Once again, we are tied on that kill count.
Yeah, absolutely. Big money moves from Scott. But I can't ignore it. Look at top lane. This top lane is just doomed. The tower's about to fall with 1v1. And it's really just a continuation of the early play. Like, Scott needed to spend 1 turn to equalize the waves. Gragas needed to manage his build and waves better. And now, this time, I think Tron the Palm is going to take a much bigger role in this game than last game.
Yeah, because I was about to say, you know, this is a similar lead to what we saw Tron have in game number 1, and it didn't correlate into a victory. This time, however, it's even bigger because Tron's gone ahead and taken that tower. Last time
all
the tower
by
was
himself.
left up, and I think it's just going to be all aggression all the time. QUT, in fact, trying to use that aggression to get themselves their first dragon of the game. It will be an Ocean Drake, and UQ not in position to contest. They're just going to have to watch this one fall.
Yeah, you can see that it's starting to spill over the map. Gnar has first move onto the objective. If QQ tries to trade, Gnar can just be on top lane, crash it again. It's all just going to come down to big plays from the carries at this point. UQU is going to have to sack objectives for a while until their carries can get a few items, and then they're going to have to look to fight on an important one. And that's going to be what I'm looking for, which objective they decide to fight for.
I mean, I would hope it would be an important one. I'm not sure how much value there's going to be in the second dragon, except for perhaps priority established later. They still could go for it, though, if they find that right opening.
Big plays.
There's the Hex Flash play. There is the knock up, the headbutt, and the Pulverize forces the flash. And Deanne actually has to be careful here, taking a lot of damage. Not sure if worth just for the mid laner flash.
Well, no, it's a good trade, but I think it could have been executed a lot better. I'm not sure why we didn't see the Cassiopeia R come out or anything like that. But no, this is definitely worth, because now what you have is you have a wave, you have a lane that you can always threaten. Like Victor being on that wave and just perma-clearing was a big problem for UQU in going into this mid-game. But for the next 6 minutes, there's an opportunity that if Victor ever missteps or if Alistair ever gets another nice roam timing, Victor will die. And that's a way in, which is what UQU needs right now.
Or the way in could be through the bot lane as well, as Rusty's going to go for a play, but Scott was waiting in the bush. And all of a sudden, Bobby is in a lot of strife. Rusty trying to help from behind, but with that teleport coming through, nowhere for Rusty to go. And Clint A's able to find Bobby as well. A double kill for Clint, and this Vayne might be getting unleashed sooner than we think.
Yeah, QT immediately looking to trade in the mid tower, but I'm not sure if it will fall. So definitely big plays from UQ's side.
Lithium trying to save the tower, will be able to hold on to it for now. QUT can't even get a break in response, and in fact, Deanne not done yet. Guesses the flash out is drawn from positioning alone. Here comes the body slam, but Lithium doesn't want to give in. Here comes Scott going straight after Tron. It's going to get Nard back in the back line, though Westy was able to find Deanne, and that is a not really a good play for UQ.
Yeah, no. Tron the Palm actually misplayed there. He could have ultied Udyr into the tower. That's how bad that fight was for UQ. It looks good at the start. Cassiopeia got a big ulti off, but nope, didn't come away with anything except a flash.
And this feels similar to game number 1 at times, where UQ would get a bit of momentum, but then kind of overextend a little bit and sort of allow QUT to get back in and increments and in little small motions and plays. And you see a great fight happen bot lane. You have a 3-0 AD carry now, and then they kind of concede a little bit right back in that mid lane.
Yeah, and right now I'm looking at Clint the pot plant. I'm looking at him to really control the game pace, say to his teammates, look guys, and the way I know he does, look guys, we have this in the late game, play slow, take free kills if you get him, but otherwise play around me. And I'd like to see him, I would expect to see him stepping up in the comms in this regard.
So, I have to ask, you being the ex-teammate, what was wrong with Luke, the pot plant? Why did he have to go click?
He told me recently. I forget.
Oh, so you know the...
I'm not sure. It's so weird.
I don't know. Seems a little sus to me. That's all I'm gonna say. Luke is a fine name. Yeah. It's stuck with Luke, I feel.
It's a bit strange. It is a bit sus.
Usernames are always strange, though. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, if Scott's name isn't Scott, or if Rusty's name isn't Rusty, and if Tron's name isn't Tron, which would really actually hurt me deep down inside. Especially with Daft Punk recently breaking up as well. We gotta hold on to what we can. Either way, though, game's still continuing. Pings happening around that Dragon Pit, as it looks like UQ could be walking straight into a fight. Everyone's just sort of fronting. No one's committing yet. Both junglers in the area, but Clint is the one who's continuing to farm, and that forces the flash engage from Rusty. Able to get to that backline, knocks it around, teleports coming through, as the fight is happening on two fronts. A nice knock into tower range, but you cannot condemn him in the tower. Doesn't matter. Lithium is going to find the kill on Major, as down below, it looks like more diving attempts. Lithium going so deep, but does eventually fall on the escape attempt. QUT holds the lane and now has Scott caught out in a bad spot. Going Turtle for that defense, going to try to fight his way through. Gets hit a lot. Point Seeker, Killer Instinct down goes the jungler, but Cassiopeia on the backline flank trying to find one more pick, isn't going to get it, and QUT wins the fight 2-3.
Yeah, but luckily Vayne did come away with a kill, and I don't believe Cassio got anything in that, so definitely big win for QUT there, equalizing the gold, I believe. Oh no, it's still coming out ahead in gold, way ahead in gold now. Yeah, it's really coming down to Vayne and Cassio looking like this bleed. This Gnar is just ballooning his lead. The Udyr has just died, and this champ falls off more and more the later this game goes. I mean, Skarner also falls off when QSSs are purchased, but that's a 1,300 gold investment that I don't think UQ can afford right now.
Yeah, I mean, those aren't there, especially with QUT accelerating the pace of this game. They're turning that fight into their second dragon. Once again, we're playing for that Mountain Soul, and I mean, that could be very good for that Gnar, who is continuing to further QUT's lead.
It's a big mistake from UQ there. The whole jungle and enemy topside is up. QT goes straight for the dragon, and UQ has no way of contesting it. So what UQ should have done there is definitely look to push out their waves and taken...
Dien sort of in a rough spot, in the wrong neighborhood at this stage, and Rusty really wants that's going to get the stun, the knockups, and Westy will get given the kill. UQ, no business in being there.
No, yeah, they definitely needed to trade. They definitely needed to make the QT pay for putting all their members into that dragon. And like I said before, I wanted to see them contesting the right objective at the right time. And look, they've just contested the wrong one, and it's just going to snowball from here.
That snowball is exactly what people should be looking to play around. And the question is, where is it going to come from? Because while everything is going good for QUT, right? Like, they're winning fights, they're getting these objectives, they still have to deal with Clint, and this is going to be a very interesting play. Rusty thinks he has it. I'm sorry, that is Bobby, and Bobby does have it. Gets the shutdown off of that Killer Instinct, and that is huge for QUT.
Yeah, you can see the QSS purchase from Clint has just shown up big in the 1v1 in being useless. So I actually think Vayne has just thrown the game, unfortunately. It's going to come really now down to how patient UQ is.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. It's going to be patient. It's going to be finding those fights. I can't ignore the fact that this Vayne still sitting with 4 kills, still has an item and a half essentially, plus that extra protection, but that's only going to be useful in certain fights, and we're not really at those fights and at that stage of the game just yet. So much of UQ is going to rely around keeping this Vayne alive, keeping this Vayne safe, and allowing Clint to get that damage in, and I don't know. We haven't seen it executed quite correctly yet, or at least not in a good long while. Instead, it's been a lot of UQ invading and a lot of UQ getting caught out.
Yeah, it's definitely rough when you're not farming, when you're not trying to trade. You know, like when an objective spawns, any objective, it could be a wave, it could be a tower, you have to look to trade if you can't contest it, right? If you're the losing team, that's what you want to do. And you probably can't trade in a winning way, but you have to at least trade. So in all those situations where they position around a dragon instead of looking to farm camps, this lead has just ballooned instead of actually dropping.
As we do see what looks to be a little bit of a play happening perhaps in this mid lane. That's a lot of pressure being established by QUT right now, and UQ, they're more focused on the side lanes, which means DN might be getting caught out yet again. Rusty is so willing to commit every time they find this Alistar, and I don't think DN gets out of this one. Another kill going over to Bobby, who is now 4-1-2, matching that Vayne when before was so far behind, and this is looking to be more and more QUT's game.
Yeah, and it's really rough when you're Vayne in this position, because in a lot of scenarios, what you can do is you can play through a side lane. And something like an Azaya or Aphelios will sit mid and farm the wave. But Vayne actually struggles to do that. So an interesting adaptation that UQU could do here is they could send Vayne to a side lane, have Cassiopeia wave clear, and look to put pressure on the side through that. Actually make Vayne the side laner in here, and Gragas and Cassiopeia can try to hold their towers alive. Because the way it is right now, they're losing push in every side lane. Vayne cannot contest mid wave because she's Vayne. And at some point, QT is going to start taking jungle camps, and that's when the game just becomes real rough for UQU.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find what could be, you know, QUT, or UQ's, I should say, way back in this game, and their strategy seems to be they still want to play through vision. Like, they're still always willing to take risks and commit for those vision plays to get into deep, and sometimes it does come to bite them. But if they can sort of track where QUT goes, then maybe they'll find their way back in. And take a look at those player cams right now. I'm starting to get a little bit worried that's going to happen.
Yeah, the player cams are telling. I believe the player cams are 3 minutes ahead, right?
No, see, he's holding his head down and shaking it in elation for sure. That's the elation stretch right there.
Yikes. Well, even if this game is ending here, I think there's a lot for UQU to take away from it. I think that the draft, again, problematic.
Oh,
they need
well,
to have
this
more
could
tools.
be a fight. I didn't mean to cut you off right there. It looked like people were willing to engage. The answer is not quite yet. Now we see the flash. Now we see the grab. And it's a bad time for Cassiopeia. A three-man ultimate coming from the QUT side as well. Just locks all of UQ up. Takes everyone down. Give Bobby that triple kill. And I mean, this game isn't over yet, but we're now in that snowball stage. In fact, I dare say this is an avalanche, and I don't know how if UQ comes back.
Well, like I said, they have to play through the Vayne on the side. And the problem is, oh my god, here.
Rusty wants it, but Scott's arrived. They're going to turn it around. Rusty nearly taking out that last silver bolt will be it, but enough time was bought for the rest of QUT to arrive. Can't escape from that one, and that's Baron going to QUT.
Yeah, you can just see like the compositions. It's just coming down to compositions. Cassiopeia cannot play the game right now. She can't buy QSS because she has not got the money. So Skarner just flash auras her and the fight ends. Like Vayne can't get in, and if Cassiopeia is dead, it's rough. Maybe it's not over. I guess Baron's knocked down. Okay, so here for the next, we can't see Dragon timers unfortunately, but I'm assuming Dragon's coming up in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Oh, they're contesting?
Yeah, this actually looks interesting. It's a Baron dance when I don't think either team is really in position to take Baron. They just rather fight, and why not? With, you know, Rizbin bragging rights on the line, some BBR. Each team tries to get it, but eventually I think cooler heads will prevail, realizing this probably isn't the fight either team wants. They do back off, although DN has a nice little Void Seeker on the way out.
Yeah, the poke is real from that champ. Now you can see both teams wanted to control the Baron, and UQ did a good job of staunching QT off. QT did a good job of staunching them off before that. But now you have to start to think about how UQ is going to contest this objective.
Yeah,
QT are definitely in a position to take it.
So I guess UQ, I mean, they do what they always seem to do, and that's just go for it. It's been their go-to. Ahead or behind, we want to fight for every objective, and this could be exactly the opening that QUT wants. Deanne trying to lead the charge. Scott as well trying to get to that back line. They get the knockup, but the killer instinct from Bobby looks to shut down the dive attempt. Deanne already falls, and Scott does not get out of the jungle alive either. Rusty is holding the rest of QQ back. Although the damage is being turned around, Tron with that Gnar just enabled the rest of QUT to take the Baron and the fight, and possibly the ace and the game.
Yeah, I wonder if QT will look to end off this push because those death timers are still in the 30s, so probably not. But it's definitely falling further and further into rough territory for UQU.
I feel like you never expect to see a Kaisa dive your own back line to turn things around. That was just, it was a really heads-up play from Bobby, I feel like.
Yeah, it was. Oh, we can see the Dragons in 2.5 minutes. So this is last chance for the side of UQU.
Yeah, they're going to fight back in this one. They need to survive this Baron power play. They need to hold on and possibly get another 35-plus minute game, because that's really where we'll start to things equalize out. But if we're going that far, well, then Dragon Soul has to come into effect. And that's even if we get that far. Deanne, again, nearly caught out trying to clear out some vision. Seen that so many times, although he's able to get away this time. 0, 8, and 5 Alistair. I can't let that one go unnoticed.
Yeah, he's definitely got his inting pants on today.
Well, you're allowed one in a best of 3. You're allowed one.
Are you? Well, okay, sure.
I mean,
if you say so, you're the expert.
When I play, I'm allowed as many as I need. Okay.
Right, okay.
As many as I need.
Understood.
That said, QUT looks to be starting to invade the jungle, which, what you said before, is probably the sign that this game could be out of reach.
Well, you can see that QT's actually shifted away from the mid lane control. So UQ has a small advantage, a small window to push through mid and look to break the mid tower and then approach the dragon from that side, which is really important. I'm actually not a fan of QT's positioning here at all, but we'll see how it plays out.
We'll see how we go from here. It looks like it's a little bit of a base race almost situation with each team kind of committing to these pushes. The difference is you have a little bit of defense being set up by QUT and absolutely none from UQ, and that push is going all the way into the base now. Oh, it looks like they may have caught out Rusty, however. QQ going to try and go for this, but this is just buying time. This is just allowing the base to get cracked open, and they're going to trade the support for the first in-base tower.
So now they have priority on the control for Dragon. So this is, again, UQ has a window here. They have mid-push. Just contest, just control the river around the mid lane, and this will be a really good way for UQ to potentially contest this objective. Of course, QT can look to fight them for it, but I think that's a fight that they want to take. UQ's best bet is right here.
Yeah, UQ willing to lay it all on the lines to avoid QUT getting this upcoming Mountain Soul, and they're going to do so by looking to invade first and foremost. They need to be careful, though, because of those Skarner gems. You really can't go too deep. They're just going to make sure they kind of get that mid one controlled back, although they haven't gotten it yet. And these are the little things that could turn the tide of the fight. Major with that Phaser speed buff as well, hoping to grab the correct member. Dragon already taken down to half, and Major's looking to go over the wall. We could be seeing that steel attempt. He goes for the flash a little bit premature, and it will not matter. It's going to be taken, but a 3-man Gnar doesn't get any stuns. Clint in that back line is untouched, but the front line from UQ has already been destroyed. QUT trying to fight through it. Lithium's the next one to fall. Deanne doing what he can, but he is overextended. He is caught out, and it is just Clint alive, still still doing damage, and Westy is forced to go golden. One auto away from getting that kill, throws it down, but doesn't get it, and instead it is Clint who falls, and QUT bring the fight back. And gives his life to continue Bobby's double kill, and QUT comes out on top once more.
But really importantly, UQ managed to stop them from getting Soul. So the game might not be over yet.
Yeah, Soul is stopped, but how frustrating does that have to be for Clint? That one auto he gave his life for, and it didn't even get the kill on Westy. The inhibitors are falling. The base could be next. It is Scott versus the world.
It was a really good look from the side of UQ. It was the right positioning, the right moment, but the execution was just not good enough.
QUT's got like no escape through here. There could be getting caught out. UQ might be able to find Westy out that back door. And
man.
No, Westy looks to thrive again. A big Gnar only gets one stun as Westy does eventually go down. But at what cost? QUT looking to find that re-engage, looking to find one more pick, which could end this game. They're not going to get it. QUT forced to back off.
Okay. It's looking like it's coming down to the wire here. Another pick.
Yeah, this is actually looking pretty devastating. It's a major knockoff from Rusty as Bobby continues to go on a tear. Give another double kill to QUT as now Major looking to dive, looking to get onto Clint, who again is that real damage
so
dealer.
Hard, man.
I mean, it's 1v4. You can almost say it's main spawning, but it's necessary spawning as the body slam leads to a kill back to UQ. Clint still wants it. Clint still running down lane. Thinks the opening is here, but here comes Gnar. No ultimate available just yet, but it might not be enough because Bobby drops a killer instinct, gets the kill, gets the double, and that could have been UQ's last chance.
Yeah, it's definitely over here, I think. If it's not over now, it's over soon.
Yeah, this is looking very dire for the UQ side. Deanne trying to find a way to that backline, trying to get to Bobby just so a middle can follow it up. The miasma, though, is not going to hit, and that means no engage just yet. Inhibitor so low, and UQ desperately trying to hang on. The bot inhibitor's already gone, and those super minions as well. About to crash into the base, and the worst thing about all this, Baron about to spawn back, and if QUT gets that, I'd straight up am saying it is game over, and we are going to see that game 3.
Yep, game over. I think, honestly, at this point, UQ's best bet is to get some crazy Gragas Alistair ultis or combos, something, and just find some priority targets because we have the damage now. We have 3 items on Cassiopeia, 3 items on Vayne, but if those carries go untouched, it will just end in a blink of an eye.
This is going to be a very telling Baron dance. UQ, they've got enough strength, it feels like, for one more swing. Will it land true, or can QUT end the game right here? You can see the positioning in favor of QUT. They're trying to wait for that wall jump. Here it comes, but it's too little, too late. As the Baron has been secured, Scott's going to try to escape. Petrifying Gaze doesn't stun anyone. And with the Nards into the stuns on the QUT favor, there is nothing UQ can do except watch the dominoes fall. QUT, they take the Baron, they take the fight, they take the game, and more importantly, they're taking us to a game number 3.
Yeah, Amidal does not want to pay the toll, and it costs them the ultimate price. You can see no QSS in that Cassiopeia, easy pickings for that Skarner with the flash up. Actually, yes, he has the... what's that flash called? What's the mini flash called?
Hex Flash?
Yeah, Hex Flash as well. So he's got so many angles on his Cassiopeia, there's no QSS that it's just a liability, and at this point, it's looking doomed. Oh, big combo.
Oh, that was an almost for Clint. It's not going to be enough. Give another ace over to Bobby. I think that's 21 or 22 kills to finish off this game. QUT, they take game 2 in dominant fashion. And as we're looking ahead towards game number 3, I think there's big questions that need to be answered by the UQ draft.
Yeah, the draft is the biggest thing. I think the players are playing their roles fine. Like, obviously some itemization problems, but no major concerns there in regards to, or at least major reasons as to why the loss happened. But yeah, no, this draft is no good for UQU.
Not good at all. So we're going to give him some time to strategize, to plan. We're going to go to a break here. And when we return, game number 3, the deciding game for the 3rd year in a row. It's all 3s here. We'll see you soon.